Okay, last time we were shooting video, you saw me make this head cast of the dog. We're going to mold or cast a head from this mold now, and we're going to go through the steps on that. I was going to use Bondo and fiberglass, but decided not to. I want to use urethane foam, so I'll explain this to you. And we're going to need to set this mold up so that the foam will not stick to it, and we need to put this back together also. Another thing, after we get done with this, we're going to show you how I'm going to cut out my mannequin and piece it together, and then we'll start carving it. Now, once we've got our, it's been several weeks since I've poured this mold, and I set it up in a dry spot and let it cure out for a couple of weeks. In the meantime, I finished skinning my dog and tanned the hide. I highly recommend, if you're doing someone's pet, to tan the hide using some sort of tan. There's a lot of tans on the market, so maybe we'll get into a tanning video sometime, show you different tans that I like to use. Now, what I'm going to do with this mold, I pieced it together just a little while ago, make sure everything's fitting just fine. There's one little notch where whenever I was sawing, I made this little notch right here and a little piece gone. A pretty good size hole. So what I'm going to do is plug it with some Vaseline. First of all, I'm going to run a bead of Vaseline or smeared Vaseline on the side or the shelf of this mold on both sides. Just give it a good coat with my finger. If you don't, this urethane foam will probably bond to it. I highly recommend also putting a new coat of Vaseline on the inside of this mold also. If you do not put some kind of release on it, your foam is going to stick to it. You also need to Vaseline all this right in here as much as possible on both sides of your mold, because your foam will rise out and will bond to this. So this is what you need to do before you pour anything or put anything together. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take a little bit on my finger, and I'm just going to smear, just coat it real good. Don't be afraid it's going to mess anything up, because it's not. And just coat this shelf real good. Another thing is, if you use this more than once, you will not have to, more than likely, will not have to recoat this for a couple pours. If you want to use this for a couple different pours, I seriously doubt if you're going to use a dog very much. It's probably just a one-time deal for this piece. But if you use this method on stuff like coons, foxes, coyotes, etc., you can use this over and over. So just keep this in mind. Now that I've got both sides of my mold greased up with this Vaseline, I'm going to take a paper towel and wipe some of the excess off on the inside of each side. Not on the perimeter, but just on the inside, so it won't have so much Vaseline in here. When the foam hits it and starts heating up, it will melt it anyway. So, but I just want to leave enough in here just to keep things from sticking, but leave a good residue in here also. Very important, cover these edges here and the back side of each half in order to keep things from sticking together. If you don't, a lot of times it'll bond the whole thing together, and you'll have to pry it apart and possibly damage your mold. These molds can last you for a long time if you'll take good care of them. to attempt to put this together. I'm going to use some toweling also to help put things back in perspective, or back it together. Excuse me, I got you out of the picture. And I'm going to take some Gorilla Tape and try to help hold this thing together a little bit. There's Vaseline all over the place, so you're not going to get much of a bond with this Gorilla Tape, but I'm going to put it across the tops as much as possible just to help put things together. And we're going to finish it up with duct tape, I think, I hope. The paper towel here is hopefully going to stop the flow of urethane foam seeping through the cracks. You can also, I didn't think about this while I was telling you about the Vaseline, you can also put your little line of potter's clay in this. So we're going to turn this right side up now and attempt to tape this up. Now when you're taping, put plenty of it on. Don't. Some of this duct tape you can buy nowadays is real cheap, or fairly cheap. Just wrap it up real good. Don't matter. Put several layers on it if you so desire. Again, this is just going to be a one-time deal as far as this dog. A fox or coon or something, you know, same thing. You can wrap it up like I'm doing right here several times just to help hold it together. Now, once we get our urethane foam poured, we can take all this off. We just want it to hold in place. I think we've got it right here pretty good. I'll turn it over and there you go. Alright. Right here now, I've got a hot heat lamp going with some urethane foam in a cup, in each cup. You can buy your urethane foam at most of your taxidermy supply houses now. This stuff has revolutionized taxidermy over the years and has really is the major portion of forms now, or one of the main ingredients in forms. We've gotten away from some of the old-timey methods and using plaster and stuff like that. Now we're using foam. So anyway, the way you mix this stuff, I like to use clear cups, party cups, like you see here. I got these at the store. And you want to measure equal amounts. Now, something like this dog head or a fox, it won't take a whole heck of a lot. Actually, I think I've got just a little bit too much poured in each cup, but we'll use this anyway. Also, you want this to be warm when you pour it. The warmer it is, the more active it is. If it's real cold in your building or in your shop, get you a heat lamp and heat it up a little bit before you mix it, and then pour it into your form once it starts rising. Another thing too is it does not mix very well with water, so don't get it wet or don't spray it. If you want to slow it down after it starts rising, sure, you can take a spritzer bottle and slow it down, or just leave it be and let it foam. So what we're going to do, go ahead and pour this in. Do this while I hold the camera. And you want to stir this thoroughly. Mix it completely up. Now, if you're doing a large amount of foam, like 30 ounces or 64 ounces, you're going to need a whip and a drill, or a paint stirrer and a drill in a large container. Another thing with this stuff is that you do not want to mess around with it. Once you get it put together and getting it stirred together, it will it'll become active just in a few minutes or a few seconds. So, like I say, the warmer it is, the more active it is. So, we're going to pour this just in a second. Again, I'm going to have this underneath the heat lamp. I'm stirring it real good. I want it to be stirred real good. You don't want to have any streaks in it. It's starting to activate now a little bit. I'm going to let you see it. I just want to start rising here. Just in a second, starting to rise right now. And we're going to take this and foam it or put it into the container. Letting it rise like this will also eliminate a lot of the waste. I'm just going to let it flow out of the cup on its own, pouring it into the mold. Now, I'm just going to leave the camera on this for a minute. You'll see what I mean by it foaming up. See how much it's growing. My students really go wild over this stuff once they learn how to use this, and we make all kinds of cool stuff with it. Mainly use it a lot in habitat bases and making rocks and things, but it's also great for making your forms. Now you can see a reason why I say grease everything up around with your Vaseline. Now, another thing you can do to help smoosh it into all the places is kind of put your hand on top of it. Put a plastic bag on it and then kind of compress it down. This has done started setting up already. I also highly recommend wearing some nitrile gloves. I am out, and that's why I'm so barehanded right now, but normally I do wear gloves with this stuff. It can burn you. I highly recommend do not use this in the kitchen or the house. This will ruin some furniture or the floors. What it sticks to is there. It's difficult to get it off. It's difficult to get it out of your skin also. So wear your gloves. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and demold this piece. Hopefully I won't pull this out of camera. Find my little thingy right here. And I'm going to go ahead and just pull the tape off. The paper towel. Hopefully we're keeping you in camera. Hard to do this by yourself sometimes. Sometimes you'll take a screwdriver. You need to take a screwdriver and just gently pry this apart. I'm going to pull you in just a little bit with the camera so you can see what we have. So just forgive me for bouncing around here. You can see the general shape of the little dog. I'm just going to work it out gently. Hopefully it'll come out. Sometimes it may take a bit of a screwdriver to help it, but I think this is going to slide out. Okay, there we go. Now, the foam itself is still real soft, and it's also, one of the reasons it's hot, the other one reason is it has a lot of Vaseline on it. So what I'm going to recommend is just set it to the side and let it cool down for a little while. Now we've got a basic shape of our dog. You can see his nose and his eyes, even his lip line right across here. So it's still in the rough, but we're going to shape it and cut it and use it use it as part of the mannequin.